Hey guys, how are you all? Today we are back with another blazing Naruto story. What if Naruto wrongly imprisoned Deadpool? If you enjoy this video, then please like, share, and do comment. And also check the description to original creator of this beautiful creation. So let us start the story.
Hey Stitches, who did you say we were looking for again? Akumo Kunoichi, the two-tails Jinchuriki. And don't call me Stitches. Yeah, whatever you say Stitches. But anyway, why are we in a sewer? Questioned the masked man while ignoring his partner's murderous intent. The Jinchuriki's trail lead is here, so she must be close. Answered the other man, all while trying to not kill his annoying partner. But couldn't she have chosen a better place to hide? I mean, come on. This place smells worse than Zetsu and that guy smells like shit. Wait, does that mean that he eats shit? Because he's a plant and plants eat shit, cows shit to be precise. That guy must be nuts to even approach them. Cows scare the shit out of me, you know? The man just growled at his partner. What nonsense are you even talking about? Oh, nothing, just talking about my unconventional fear for cows. You have bovinophobia? What's that? His partner just growled more. Just shut up and be quiet, we are getting closer to the two-tails Jinchuriki. Yeehaw, you just asked for two impossible things. I swear I'm going to kill you someday. And there is another one. The man closed his eyes in irritation while rubbing his head, trying to prevent the coming headache. I swear to God, that mouth of yours will be the end of you one day. Just keep walking, you love me. And the two masked men continued walking. Ni Yugito could classify this mission as complete failure. It started as an easy B-rank mission, but everything just went to hell after two cloaked men appeared out of nowhere, taking her team by surprise. Somehow they managed to kill all her teammates before she could do anything to stop them. Being the only one left, she was forced to retreat. But by no means she was escaping. No, she was making sure that they couldn't escape. After all, she can't let them live after what they did to her comrades. She was not able to see their abilities, so she shouldn't underestimate them, but neither should them. Right now she was standing in the middle of a huge room, waiting for the two cloaked figures as they steeped out of the darkness of the tunnel. Hey there little kitty, we've been looking for you. Did the big stitched guy scare you? Don't worry, he can't harm you. Well, he can take out your heart and claim it as his. And I don't mean it in the romantic way, shouted one of them in a playful voice. The moment the two men got in contact with the light, Yugito could not help but frown at what she saw. I should have known I was dealing with the Akatsuki, she said with venom in her voice. She knew that they were members of infamous organization that has been growing its influence throughout the elemental nations. They were wearing the black cloaks with red clouds. So you know about us. Of course she knew about them. The Akatsuki, a criminal group that Master Jiraiya, one of the legendary Sannin, has warned hers and many of the other hidden villages. They were the group that was behind the increasing disappearances of Jinchurikis all over the map. One more reason that makes this group so dangerous is the fact that their entire group is made of S-rank missing nin. Very dangerous people. As she began to look at her attackers, she noticed that aside from their Akatsuki cloaks, they were also wearing masks. One wore a white hood and a black mask with his eyes being the only visible part of his face, along with a forehead protector of Takigakure, the village hidden by a waterfall, with a scratch in the middle, showing his status as a missing nin. The other one was wearing a red mask that covered entirety of his face with black spots around his white eyes. Also, Yugito didn't fail to notice the two katanas that he was carrying on his back. Those swords are not normal, I can tell that much. If I'm not mistaken, he must be a kenjutsu specialist. If the years I have spent with B have taught me anything, is that I have to be careful around him. She thought as a big frown formed in her face. Getting a clearer look on her face, the red-masked man's eyes grew in surprise. Whoa, Kakuzu, you didn't told me that we were after a hot chick. He spoke with enthusiasm, earning a murderous look from the female Jinchuriki. That is irrelevant, now shut up, the one called Kakuzu retorted in annoyance. The other Akatsuki just let out a small laugh. Damn Kakuzu, you really are a killjoy, you know that? Kakuzu just ignored him and continued to stare at the Kumo nin. If I would have to guess, I would say you already know why we are here. Good, that saves us time. Now, I'll ask you to give yourself in and save us the trouble. He said, earning a glare from Yugito. The red-masked man only chuckled. I apologize for my partner's rudeness. He isn't really a people person. You see, her mother always beat the living crap out of him when he was a kid. Kakuzu growled. But anyway, you may call me Deadpool. And this gentleman right here is my sidekick Kakuzu. Nice to meet you. It took Kakuzu every bit of self-control that he had to not kill his partner. Maybe later, but not now. The female Jinchuriki glare only hardened. She was getting tired of the two Akatsuki. But fortunately, she had a plan. She smiled, much to the two Akatsuki's confusion. You probably think you got me cornered, but you got it wrong. She said before making a hand sign. You are the ones trapped in here. Deadpool looked at her with confusion. Wait, what? Suddenly all of the tunnel entrances connecting to the room exploded, covering all the exits in debris. I was planning to kill you both, but now that I know that you two are from the Akatsuki, then I can't risk any of you escaping. If this is how you want it then so be it. It worked better for us this way. Mumbled Kakuzu. His partner just released a sigh and placed his hand on the handle of one of his katanas. It's a shame. I was planning to invite you to dinner before we take the little kitty inside you and let you die in a very painful way. Oh well, maybe next time. Seeing that her words and tactics weren't striking any fear in her enemies caused her anger to grow. I swear I'm going to kill you both. In that moment, Yugito began to concentrate chakra in her body, causing her fingernails and toenails to become long claws while her appearance took a wilder look. Damn, those things are huge. You really need to cut those, you could poke someone's eye. Exclaimed Deadpool. Before anyone could do anything, the female Jinchuriki moved at a great speed and attacked the two Akatsuki members with one powerful swing from her claws, making them jump in opposite directions to avoid the attack. She is fast, observed Kakuzu. No way, Captain Obvious. Yelled Deadpool. Good, they separated. Now I will take out the red one first, then I finish the other guy. She thought as she got ready to attack again. Before Deadpool could land on the floor, he noticed that the female Jinchuriki was running towards him. Reacting quickly before she could hit him with one of her giant claws, he unsheathed his katana and blocked the powerful attack before it could get anywhere near him. Ha, you need to do more than that to even scratch me, little kitty. Deadpool taunted as he landed. Seeing that her attack didn't have any effect, she tried one more time. This time using both of her claws. Oh, he said, aware of the incoming attack. Knowing that it was going to be stronger than the last one, he unsheathed his other sword and blocked the powerful double slash with his two katanas. When the two clashed with each other, a fight of strength began as the two fighters tried to push the other. Yugito growled in frustration. He is really strong. I don't know how, but even with some of Matabi's chakra, he is still able to compete with my strength. Seeing that the battle of strength was getting nowhere, she separated from the red-masked man, putting some distance between them. Oh please, don't tell me you're already tired. We just started dancing and I still haven't shown you my best moves. He said while putting his swords back in their sheaths. Check this out. Breathing heavily, Yugito just stared dumbfounded at Deadpool as he started dancing, moving his legs in a really weird and disturbing way. Is he serious? Yugito thought with gritted teeth. I don't know who this guy is, but he is no ordinary shinobi. To be able to withstand the level of strength that I used is no small feat. Still watching the red man dancing like an idiot, she did not notice the large drop of sweat that was falling from the forehead of the other Akatsuki who was also watching the scene unfold. Deciding to ignore the idiocy of his partner, Kakuzu decided to this chance to attack. Taking off his coat, he extruded his fire heart and shot a powerful fire attack, surprising the kunoichi before jumping out of the way. What the hell is that thing? She questioned in shock while in midair, not aware of the presence behind her. Sneak attack, someone shouted behind her. Yugito turned, only to see Deadpool holding a sword in both hands and gaining momentum, ready to slice her in half. Damn it, I got distracted. She was only able to block the attack with only one of her claws. The strike was way too strong from what she first anticipated. But what come next only shocked her beyond comprehension. Her claw broke. How can this be? She could not believe what was happening, but when she took a closer look at her attacker's blade, she was able to spot a blue aura surrounding it. I see, so he coated his sword with his own chakra to make his attack stronger. But still, no ordinary blade or chakra could make such a clean cut that easily. Taking advantage of her shock, Deadpool did not waste time. He quickly sheathed his sword back and did a spin kick, sending Yugito away. But before Yugito could even recover, Kakuzu extruded his water heart and shot a strong current of water, hitting her and crushing her against the brick wall. When the shooting stopped, Kakuzu retracted both hearts and stared at the female Jinchuriki who was now lying on the ground. "Ha, got the little bitch this time, didn't we?" said Deadpool as he stood beside his partner and raised his hand. "High five for teamwork." Kakuzu just stared back at his partner in annoyance before replaying with a simple, "No," while approaching the Jinchuriki on the ground. "Oh come on, are you still mad because I call you Stitches?" he asked but received no answer. Deadpool just growled. He crossed his arms on his chest and turned his back at Kakuzu. "Fine then, have it your way. I never wanted to high-five you anyway." As he ignored Deadpool, who was complaining about having the worst bromance in bromance history or something along those lines, he crouched beside the Two-Tails Jinchuriki and began to inspect her, searching for any serious injuries that she may have. They still needed her alive after all. However, a strong presence of chakra suddenly made itself known. What the? Kakuzu was not able to finish what he was saying before he was launched away by the powerful chakra that was coming out of the female Jinchuriki. "I'm going to kill you both," she screamed in anger while her entire body glowed with chakra, earning a demonic look. "Damn it Kakuzu, didn't you know that cats don't like to get wet? You jackass," yelled Deadpool at his partner, who was now getting up while rubbing his head. "I'm telling you Deadpool, if you don't stop talking right now, I swear I'm going to stitch your mouth shut again," he stated in a more raspy and angry voice. His response came as nothing but silence. That's what I thought. The attention of the two now focused on the huge figure that began to take shape in front of them. It covered them with its huge shadow. "Holy mama," exclaimed Deadpool, staring at the giant figure before them. "Kakuzu, I think I have a burrito stuck in my pants right now." Kakuzu decided to not question what a burrito was. He was also staring at the large figure in front of them that came in the form of a giant cat that was completely engulfed in blue flames. Its yellow eye and a green eye glared at the both of them with nothing but anger. The Jinchuriki growled and roared loudly, getting ready to attack. "This isn't good." A giant ball of fire began to form in her mouth. "At all. Dodge," warned Kakuzu. When the giant ball of fire was complete, she shot it towards them, forcing them to look for cover. But when the attack hit the wall behind them, the entire place exploded around them. After the explosion, almost nothing remained, but the structure remains were scattered everywhere. But some of the rubble of what was left began to move. It was until some moments later that Deadpool's head came out. Well, that wasn't so bad. Slowly emerging from the rubble, Deadpool began to accommodate every part of his body that was out of place. "Damn, that hurt. But oh well, at least I'm still in one piece. Wait, where is my butt?" Before Deadpool could look for his butt, he noticed a giant shadow. Deciding to not waste time, he jumped away and avoid being crushed by the same giant cat from before. "Come on, can't you give me a rest? At least let me find my butt. I don't want to be buttless," he said, before once again avoiding being crushed by a giant paw. Now standing a little far away now, Deadpool unsheathed his swords. I need to get closer if I want to do real damage. Ordinary jutsus won't work on her. And I can't risk killing her, so my best chance are this babes," he said, referring to his sword. He then noticed Kakuzu emerging from the rubble, just behind the giant cat. "About time you decided to join the party, Kakuzu." After getting out of the rubble, Kakuzu saw Deadpool, swords at hand and standing right in front of the transformed Jinchuriki. "This idiot, battling the Jinchuriki head-on. What is he thinking?" he said, standing in his 2 feet. "You know what, scratch that. He probably isn't thinking at all." Having no other choice, Kakuzu extruded his wind and fire hearts and shoot a powerful blast of fire, which was amplified by a strong current of wind. The powerful attack sped toward its target, hitting the Two-Tails Jinchuriki in the back, gaining her full attention. The cat, now angry, began to charge a giant fireball in her mouth, and threw it at Kakuzu, but before it could hit him, he extruded his water heart, and repelled the attack with a powerful current of water, filling the place with steam. Kakuzu was now breathing heavily. "Stopping that attack took me a lot of chakra," he said, while trying to regain himself. As the steam began to clear up, only Kakuzu and the giant cat could be seen, but no sign of Deadpool. As the transformed Jinchuriki began to prepare another attack, She was not able to notice the movement between the remaining steam, and without realizing it, a figure came out of the steam with an incredible speed and began to slash her legs, covering them with hundreds of deep cuts, and in the blink of an eye, the figure jumped in the air and landed in her back, followed by the feeling of two blades piercing her, making her roar in pain. "Ha, didn't expect that one, didn't you?" While Deadpool was holding the handle of his swords, which were buried in the Jinchuriki's back. She then started doing all sorts of sudden movements, trying to throw him off her back. "Whoa, easy girl," shouted Deadpool, doing his best to not fall off. As Deadpool continues struggling with the Jinchuriki, trying to keep her occupied, Kakuzu prepare himself for a final attack. "This better work, Deadpool," thought Kakuzu, waiting for an opening. Deadpool didn't fail to notice this, and smiled behind his mask. "Well, it was fun playing rodeo with you, little kitty, not bad for our first date if you ask me, but still, duty calls and the reader is probably getting bored of this fight, so I'll end it right here," said Deadpool as he took his swords back, and before she could try to hit him, he jumped off her back and quickly put his swords in their sheaths before starting making hand signs with an impressive speed. "Suiden! Suiryuden no Jutsu!" shouted Deadpool. Suddenly, from all the surrounding water in the area, a giant dragon made of water appeared and launched itself against the transformed Jinchuriki, knocking her from her feet and sending her to the ground. Kakuzu smirked under his mask. It seems you are not as useless as I thought after all," thought Kakuzu. And before he finally activated his jutsu, he decided to put even more chakra in his final attack, and when it was finally ready, he extruded his lightning hearth and released the jutsu. "Raiden! Gion!" yelled Kakuzu before shooting a powerful lightning attack. As powerful as the attack was, it probably wouldn't have done anything to the tailed beast in normal circumstances, but with all the stabs and deep cuts she received earlier and the powerful water attack leaving her all wet, she was now completely vulnerable to any lightning attack. When the attack made contact with the transformed Jinchuriki, the electric shock made her roar in pain, which caused her to lose her balance and hit the ground. As Kakuzu began to stand up, Deadpool landed beside him. "Hell yeah, way to go, Kakuzu," yelled Deadpool to his partner. "Shut up, this isn't over yet, we still need to suppress the tailed beast chakra," said Kakuzu while looking at the Jinchuriki, who was already trying to get up. "We were lucky she wasn't using her full strength." "Damn, way to kill the mood," said Deadpool, looking to the ground with a sad expression. Kakuzu was still annoyed by his partner's childish behavior, and he wanted nothing more but cut his head clean off, but there were more urgent matters right now. It won't be long before the Jinchuriki recovers and try to kill them again. Time was running out. "Well, like I said, this is taking so long, so I'll just end this quick," said Deadpool, returning to his usual behavior. Kakuzu turned to look at his partner. "What are you tall? Where the hell did you get that?" said Kakuzu, now staring at Deadpool, who was carrying a huge scroll. "You don't want to know." When Deadpool opened the scroll, a huge cloud of smoke come out. "What is he doing now?" thought Kakuzu as he waited for the smoke to disperse. The smoke cleared, and Deadpool was standing there with a lot of large wooden stakes. Kakuzu's eyes winded as he recognized the stakes. Those are wood made by the Shodem Hokage's Mokuton. "Awesome, right?" said Deadpool in excitement. "Unlike you Stitches, I'm not afraid of buying things with all my money." Kakuzu growled. He knew that any wood made by the Shodem Hokage's Mokuton was not only expensive, but it was almost impossible to find any. How this clown got his hands in so much of it was beyond him. "Just be done with it already." "Well, that was fun, now what?" asked Deadpool, seating besides the unconscious Kunoichi. "We wait for Zetsu to come and take the Jinchuriki, then we go to look for our next target," said Kakuzu, now wearing his Akatsuki cloak. Deadpool sighed, and continued poking the unconscious Kumo Kunoichi with a stick, bore out of his mind. The two were sitting on the floor, waiting for who knows how long without doing anything, and Kakuzu didn't fail to notice the uncomfortable silence. "What's up with you?" "Me? What?" asked Deadpool. "You are unusually quiet, especially because you are not even talking to yourself like always." Deadpool tilted his head to one side. You are worried about me?" he asked, obviously surprised. Kakuzu growled, "Is disturbing, you being so quiet makes me uncomfortable." Deadpool chuckled and then sighed. "Well, to tell you the truth, I wanted to ask you something?" What? Deadpool took a moment. He looked directly at the unconscious Jinchuriki, then at his own hands. What's after all this? I mean, what's after all this fighting, hunting bounties, and being part of a creepy-ass criminal organization? What do you mean? Deadpool now turned to look at his partner in the eyes. You've been around for like, I don't know, 100 fucking years or something? I'll probably live that long too, probably more. So tell me, is there something else aside from all of this? Not that I'm tired or anything, I still love kicking ass, but is this all we got? Kakuzu was in deep thought, trying to come up with an answer. Sadly, I can't tell. I've been doing this for a long time now, and I haven't gotten tired of it. Money has and still is my major motivator, so the shinobi life is the only one for me. I see, said Deadpool, before returning to his usual mood. Where the fuck is Zetsu anyway? Over here. The two turned around, just to see the Zetsu coming out the ground. About time you decided to show up. Why the hell did it took you so long? There were some complications, said the white half. Good to see you capture the Jinchuriki, good job, said the black one. No thanks to you, assholes, said Deadpool, earning a glare from Zetsu. Zetsu then looked at the Jinchuriki unconscious body. I'll take her from here. Get ready for your next target, said the black half, and without saying anything, he began to disappear in the ground, taking the kunoichi with him. Oh, and Deadpool, said the white one, earning Deadpool's attention, we don't eat cow shit. Deadpool's eyes winded, wait, you were. Fuck you, you fuck face. After Zetsu's fiasco from before, and some more minutes of rest, Kakuzu finally stand up, followed by Deadpool. Let's go, said the old shinobi. Where to? To the fire country for our next target. Knock 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 knock. You are an idiot if you think this is going to work. Shut up, don't spoil it. Knock 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 knock. A sigh was heard. Seriously, I will never understand how that little thing you call brain works. I'm not even sure if there is one to begin with. There is one and you know it, you saw it last time, remember? Yes, it was all over me. Knock knock knock, the massive door finally opens, and a bald man sticks his head out. Can I help you? Said the man, staring at the two masked strangers. Hello, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Deadpool, and this gentleman over here is Kakuzu. We were wondering if by any chance you have any giant-tailed demon sealed inside someone in there, so me partner and I can capture it, and take it to our S-class criminal organization and eat lunch by the afternoon. Rather than answering, the monk shuts the giant door on Deadpool's face. Deadpool's eyes winded. What the? Hey, that's not fair. You didn't even let me tell you what we were going to eat. He yelled, while hitting the door with his fist multiple times. Hey, I know you can still hear me, Baldy. Open the goddamn door right now. Behind Deadpool, Kakuzu face palmed and muttered something under his breath. Idiot. Contact Shiriku-sama immediately, shouted the same bald man. Brother, what's wrong? Asked another monk. It's the Akatsuki, said the first monk with a fearful look in his face. The statement earned a shocked look from everybody around him. Another of the monks took a step forward. Brother, are you sure it's the Akatsuki? There is no doubt, said the first monk. They were wearing black cloaks with red clouds. Just like we were told before, it's them. Before anybody could say something, the gate was suddenly destroyed and the debris crushed all the monks, making a huge cloud of smoke. Damn it, Kakuzu. Why can't you let me have some fun? Because your fun takes a lot of time, and time is money. Two figures emerged from the cloud of smoke, revealing none other than the two Akatsuki members, Kakuzu and Deadpool. As the two began to walk inside the temple, they take notice of all the monks that were scattered around the yard. Hey Stitches, what's with all the shiny heads? Asked Deadpool. They are monks, they shave their heads, said Kakuzu, already getting annoyed. You are bald too, remember? Said Kakuzu as he glanced at his partner. Like if you look any better, at least I have style. At least I have hair. The two continue walking toward a bunch of stairs, ignoring all the monks in their way, as they either run away in fear, or join up with the rest. Up the stairs was the major temple, where most of the monks were reunited. You know Stitches, it feels good when your reputation precedes you, said Deadpool, walking with his hands resting behind his head. Kakuzu gave an annoyed grunt. Idiot, they don't know who we are. It's the organization reputation that makes them coward in fear. You are such a killjoy, you know that? Kakuzu just growled at his partner. From the entrance of the major temple, among the monks, another monk came out, but he looked different from the others. "Oh Kakuzu, look! A new shiny head come to greet us," said Deadpool, as he didn't seem to mind the newcomer, but he did get Kakuzu's attention. "This one is dangerous," said Kazu, getting Deadpool's attention. "Our hit list says there's a 30 million Ryu bounty on his head, he is no joke." I see, wait, how much did you say? 30 million Ryu. Deadpool's eyes winded. 30 million Ryu. Kakuzu, stay behind, that money is mine, said Deadpool as he took a step forward. Kakuzu growled, "Forget it Deadpool, you will only spend the money in junk, besides, I am the one who recognize him," said Kakuzu, taking 2 steps forward. Normally, Kakuzu would never get himself in this kind of childish discussions, but when the discussions involve money, you better watch out. Nah. You read the Bing book every time you go to the bathroom, so of course you would recognize him first, you cheater. He took 2 steps more. How am I a cheater? You are the one who doesn't even bother to read the damn book, so it's your fault for being so ignorant. This bounty is mine. The two glared at each other, almost bumping heads and drooping killing intent all over the place, not realizing that all the monks had a drop of sweat on their foreheads. Before it could go any further, Deadpool sighed, "Okay fine. But next bounty we find will be mine, you hear me?" he said, crossing his arms and mumbling insults toward the other masked man. Kakuzu, in satisfaction, returned his gaze toward his new target. "I'd heard there was a temple in the Fire Country inhabited by ninja monks," said Kakuzu. "It said they wield some sort of power called the gift of the gods. Buri, can we fight now? This monk is an elite ninja who once belonged to the Shugonin Junishi, the 12 guardian ninja. Nobody cares. The readers are probably going to skip this chapter if we don't fight. Who were charged with protecting the fire daimyo? That sash with the symbol of the Fire Country is proof." Kakuzu looked at his partner, who was just staring at him. "What?" asked Kakuzu. "Are you done?" Kakuzu sighed, "Yes, then let's do this." And with that said, Deadpool unsheathed his katanas, and the two charged towards the monk, ready to slice him to pieces. Only to be sent flying by 100 of flying fists. "We'll give you a proper burial," said the monk, already wanting to end the fight, as he didn't want it to cause too much damage to the temple. The other monks thought the same thing, and were all glad that it was all over, or so they thought. A few moments later, the 2 Akatsuki members hit the ground, accompanied by the sound of breaking bones. Lying on the ground, it only took a few seconds before one of them say something. "Kakuzu, what? He isn't a Jinchuriki, right?" "No, he isn't. So is okay if I cut his head off? I promise I'll give it to you after I'm done playing soccer with it." "I don't know what you just said, but do as you like." After that being said, the two began to get up, surprising everyone, as they all could swear they hear the sound of their bones breaking, or at least the ones from the red masked man. Looking directly toward the monk and picking his swords from the ground, Deadpool put one back on its sheath and charged once again while Kakuzu stayed behind. "I hope you are ready, Saitama, because I'm gonna cut you like a little piggy." The monk frowned at the rushing Akatsuki member. "I am Chiriku of the Fire Temple, and I won't lose to the likes of you," he said, as he prepared some hand signs. "Banzai!" shouted Deadpool, raising his katana. "Raigo Senjusatsu!" shouted Chiriku. Suddenly an angelic and peaceful-looking figure with many arms appeared behind the monk, and without warning, it launched a barrage of fists towards Deadpool, but rather than try to dodge, he rushed towards the attack. Chiriku frowned. What is he doing? It's surprising to see him standing up, especially with all the damage my last attack caused him, but he isn't even trying to avoid the attack, he thought, obviously confused. When the attack was about to hit him, Deadpool descended his sword, cutting the first fist in 2. The monk froze in shock. "What? That's impossible." His shock didn't end there. The rest of the barrage of fists were also being cut in half by Deadpool's sword with an amazing display of speed. "Cut! Cut! 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 Cut!" yelled Deadpool, while still reflecting the attack. Chiriku was not the only one. The other monks were also in complete shock, and their voices in panic could be heard all over the temple. "How is this possible? Chiriku-sama attack has been countered. This can't be. Is this the power of Akatsuki?" While everyone was distracted by Deadpool's incredible display of Kenjutsu, Kakuzu decided to make his move. A few seconds later, Chiriku's attack stopped. "Ha ha! Are you surprised? Of course you are. said Deadpool as he laughed, and pointed his sword at the direction of all the monks. Just look at all your faces, it's hilarious, ha ha. Chiriku growled in anger. The man in front of him was clearly insane, but to make it worse, he was powerful too. I don't understand, how did he? The monk then noticed the blue aura emanating from the blade. I see, so he concentrated chakra in his sword to make it stronger. That explained the power behind the slices, but still, no matter how good someone is at chakra manipulation, no normal chakra could have done this. Just, who is he? The monk wondered. Obviously the Raigo Senjusatsu was useless since his opponent was able to counter it without any trouble, so he will have to try another thing. Chiriku got into a fighting stance, ready for his next attack. But before he could do something, Kakuzu suddenly came out of the ground right behind him, with a fist turned into solid rock, ready to send a powerful punch. Chiriku was not able to defend himself from the incoming attack, so he got hit right on his back, breaking it in the process. The punch was too strong, that sent the monk flying towards Deadpool, katana in hand and ready to slice. The monk noticed that the Kakuzu behind Deadpool turned into a pool of water. The monk's eyes winded in shock and surprise. A water clone? So this was their plan all along, he thought in realization. Hello and goodbye Baldy, said Deadpool, as he was about to cut the flying Chiriku in half, but was interrupted by someone's yell. Doden. Doryuso. A huge earth spike suddenly erupted from the ground, and impaled Deadpool in the stomach, lifting him in the air and making him scream in pain. Og, you mother. While Deadpool cursed, Chiriku's body was about to hit the floor, but it was immediately caught by one of the other monks. You have done enough Chiriku-sama, leave us the rest, said the monk, before joining the others. Kakuzu saw this, and then turned around, only to see another monk with his hand on the ground, who was obviously the one who used the earth jutsu. So they have finally decided to intervene. Great, another pest to dealt with, he said before turning to Deadpool, but first. Kakuzu walked in front of Deadpool, who was struggling to get off the spike. Get that thing off of you and get ready, the others are about to join in. Deadpool spat some blood behind his mask. Don't give me that shit Stitches, just help me get this thing off of me. The other masked man grunted, fine, but you better stop complaining, you have been through much worse, so this should be nothing for you, he said, as he extended his arm and it stretched long enough to grab Deadpool from the back, and get him off the spike. Yes, but, it doesn't make it any less painful, said Deadpool as he was dropped to the ground. Just get up, still struggling, grabbing his stomach with one hand. Okay, just give me a second, I'm still healing, said Deadpool, as he began to get up, only to reveal a big hole in his stomach, his cloak already torn apart. The spike did go through Deadpool's body, so literally there was nothing left besides a deep bloody hole in his body, so everyone, except for Kakuzu, was in complete shock when they all saw Deadpool's insides slowly regenerating. No, it can't be, said one of the monks in fear. Is he immortal? Okay, that does it, yelled Deadpool, as in a matter of seconds, his entire disfigured skin recover. Who was the asshole who thought that penetrating me with a fucking giant spike was a good idea? None of the monks said something. Deadpool looked impatiently at the monks, both swords at hand. No one has something to say? Well, then I believe it's time for all of you guys to have a very well-deserved rest. Congratulations guys, you earn it, he said, before he suddenly gave a threatening look. Rest in pieces. Everyone was tense, but were ready to fight. Kakuzu began to walk away. Don't take long. Don't worry, Deadpool just chuckled darkly. I won't. Are you done? Asked Kakuzu, while carrying Chiriku's death body on his back. Just a moment. Please stop. No. Okay, I'm done. Now what? Asked Deadpool, cleaning his sword and putting it back in its sheath. We need to go, said Kakuzu, as the two began to walk away. It won't be long before someone comes to see what happened. Well, whoever comes will probably get a big surprise. And whoever that is, will probably come after us and we still have to collect the rewards, so we better move. Besides, there is still a Jinchuriki to hunt. And they were gone, leaving behind piles of bloody corpses, destroyed buildings, and body parts all over the place that used to be called the Fire Temple. No survivors. Who cares, they are only background characters. What? Nothing. Oh Mr. Kakuzu, Mr. Deadpool, it is good to see familiar faces from time to time. Oh, and I see you brought another one. And this looked like a big one, said the exchangeman with a smile. This way, please. Kakuzu didn't hesitate and do as he was asked, but Deadpool just stood there. Seriously, I understand the secrecy, but why the hell would they choose a bathroom for the secret exchange point? This will probably left me scar for life. You are already scar for life, said Kakuzu, still carrying the monk's body. Go fuck yourself, said Deadpool, already annoyed. Crossing his arms rather than follow his partner, Deadpool hummed. You go ahead and collect your all precious bounty stitches. This place already smells like shit, so I rather wait outside, said the red-masked man said as he walked away. Once outside, with his arms at his sides, Deadpool took a deep breath. Now this is what I'm talking about, fresh air, the smell of Mother Nature, said Deadpool with a big smile behind his mask. I need to pee real bad right now, deadpanned Deadpool. And without thinking twice he ran into the bushes on the other side of the road, opening his coat and his pants zipper. The masked man began to water the flowers. Aw man, I really needed that, yelled Deadpool. But what he didn't know was that someone was watching him. Whacking Deadpool from the trees, 3 Konoha shinobi were standing in the shadows, hiding from sight. They were 3 Chunin-level shinobi, Kamizuki Izumo, Higane Katetsu and Nara Shikamaru. And a Jonin-level shinobi, Sarutobi Asuma. The 4 of them, along with a large number of Konoha shinobi, were tasked to find and eliminate the Akatsuki members that were spotted inside the country, and they were just lucky enough to find one of them alone. I don't understand, why isn't he using the bathroom? It's right there, asked Izumo. The hell would I know, this is Akatsuki we are talking about, he probably knows we are here and he is just messing with us, responded Katetsu. Shikamaru sighed, I really doubt that, just listen. In the background they could hear the red-masked Akatsuki member, singing the PP song, whistle, the PP song. Okay, he is probably an idiot, said Izumo, with a drop of sweat in his face. Seeing that this wasn't taking them nowhere, Asuma intervened. We need to move, Akatsuki members move in pairs, so we better attack now that he is alone. The other 3 nodded and disappeared in a blur, already taking action. Asuma being the first to strike. Oh man, now that was satisfying, said Deadpool, closing his zipper, but as soon as he turned around, he found himself in front of a man dressed in a Konoha shinobi outfit, his most unique characteristic being the cigar on his mouth. Oh, hi there, what's up? Said Deadpool, trying to raise his hand but finding himself to be unable to do it. Wait, what? He asked himself, his voice clear with confusion. But that didn't take long before a knife impaled him in the skull. One down, good work Shikamaru, said the man, who was none other than Asuma. Behind the bush was Shikamaru, who was using his signature move, Kagemane no Jutsu, Shadow Possession Jutsu, which he used to hold Deadpool in place. Shikamaru couldn't help but smirk as everything went according to plan. The shadow connecting with Deadpool retracted back to him, dispelling the jutsu and letting Deadpool's body hit the floor. He wasn't sure, but Shikamaru couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. This was way too easy. The 2 were ready to go and wait for the other Akatsuki member to get out, but they stooped when they hear moaning. Looking back at Deadpool's body, they were shocked to see that it was trying to get up. Asuma's cigarette fell from his mouth. How is he still alive? Oh man, what the fuck is wrong with you people? Said Deadpool, looking at Asuma and Shikamaru. Okay, now you done it. What kind of asshole, aside from me of course, would attack people while they're taking a piss, he said glaring at them. Somebody is gonna get hurt real bad, and you 2 fuckers can bet your ass is one of you, said Deadpool, now standing up and taking the knife off his head. So, which one of you fuckers wants to die first? Said Deadpool, now standing up and taking the knife off his head. Standing in front of Deadpool were Shikamaru and Asuma, who were still froze in place, still in shock from seeing the red-masked Akatsuki member alive and standing like nothing happened. How is he still alive? Asked Shikamaru, trying to comprehend how the masked Akatsuki was still standing. Rather than answer, the Jonin stared at the masked shinobi. Asuma clenched his fist. This is bad. This man should be dead already. My knife should have killed the brain, disconnecting it from the rest of the body, but for some reason this guy is still alive and unfazed. Just what the hell is going on? Thought the Jonin, a drop of sweat on his face. Seeing that he was getting no response from the older shinobi, Shikamaru cursed. Damn it, said the young Nara, frowning at his mistake. I shouldn't have dispelled the jutsu. Now the situation has become a lot more complicated, said Shikamaru to himself. Deadpool looked at the two shinobi with little interest. Who are you guys anyway? The Jonin frowned. While the recent events were an unexpected shock, they still needed to put this guy down. We're shinobi from Konoha. We have been ordered to either capture or exterminate Akatsuki, said Asuma, ready to get into a fight. As you Akatsuki work in two-man teams, we planned on capturing one of you after eliminating the other one. But, Asuma suddenly glared at Deadpool, grabbing another one of his knives from his pouch. Deadpool tilted his head to the side, curious about what Asuma was about to say. Asuma took a battle pose, two of his knives knuckles at hand. You are too dangerous to be keep alive, Shikamaru. Right, responded Shikamaru, also knowing that they needed to act now. Making a hand sign, Shikamaru extended his shadow towards the masked man, but Deadpool avoided it by jumping in the air. "Ha, you'd have to do better than that if you really want to catch me, Pineapple Head," said Deadpool, but then he noticed the smirk in the boy's face. What's so funny? In the air, it didn't take long for Deadpool to notice the two shadows behind him. Reacting in time, Deadpool unsheathed the katanas from his back just in time to block the dual attack from Izumo and Kotetsu, who were also carrying swords on their own. The two were hiding in the trees as backup, ready to attack if the need arise. Blocking their attacks with one sword each one, both Chunin were trying to push their enemy, but Deadpool was just too strong for them to move. Kotetsu gritted his teeth. He is just using one arm with each of us and we still can't push him. Just how strong is this guy? Thought Kotetsu, sweating from the effort. Azuma wasn't having much luck either. So you guys want to join the party too? Oh well, the more the better, right? Like an orgy but without the, okay that was too much, said Deadpool, separating from the two Chunin and landing a few meters away from them, his two swords still in hand. Taking a defensive position, Izumo and Kotetsu landed in front of Shikamaru, breathing heavily but still not letting their guard down while Shikamaru was analyzing the situation, already trying to come up with a plan. Putting his swords on their sheaths and crossing his arms, Deadpool looked at his opponents in disappointment. Oh come on. Don't tell me that's all you got. Wait, where is the other one? Suddenly without warning, Asuma appeared behind Deadpool ready to attack him with his knives knuckles. But Deadpool quickly dodged Asuma's attack and did a roundhouse kick to his abdomen, sending him away a few meters. Seriously, what's with you people? Too many surprise attacks in the back in one chapter is kind of lame, don't you think? Asuma grunted in pain as he regained his balance and landed in his 2 feet. Damn, that kick did really pack a punch, thought the Jonin, now glaring at Deadpool, who was scratching his ass. Deadpool was actually having fun. These guys seemed like they could put a decent fight. Maybe he should spare them. Nah, they are too troublesome to let them live, and it seemed that Konoha is after them, so there are probably more out there looking for him and Kakuzu. Looking more closely at his opponent in front, Deadpool noticed the sash the man was wearing. He blinked a few times, finding a new interest in the Konoha Jonin. Hey, just to make sure, are you by any chance a member of that shitty boy band or whatever the hell is called? The same one that bald dude was part of? I'm one of the Shugonin Junichi, the 12 Guardian Ninja, not a boy band. What of it? Said Asuma with an annoyed tone, not liking where this was going. Deadpool's eyes winded in excitement. Oh, looks like it's my day of luck. Now Kakuzu can't say shit about me claiming your bounty for my own. Asuma growled, you can't claim my bounty if I kill you first, he said as he ran towards Deadpool. Deadpool only laughed, you might kill me first, but I fucking guarantee you I'll kill you last, so bring it, yelled Deadpool, unsheathing one of his swords and running head-on towards Asuma. In the blink of an eye, the two shinobi clashed with each other. The sound of metal hitting metal was heard as the both shinobi exchanged attacks with their weapons. Kotetsu and Izumo could only watch in amaze as Asuma and the red-masked Akatsuki clashed with each other with incredible speed, attacking, dodging and blocking each other's attack. This is incredible, Asuma is fighting him head-on, said Izumo, without taking his eyes off the fight. Yes, but for how long? Just look, Asuma can barely keep up with this guy's speed, and we are not sure if we can even kill him, said Kotetsu, a drop of sweat running down his face. We don't need to kill him, said Shikamaru from behind, earning the attention from the other two Chunin. If we can't kill him, then we will just have to restrain him. At this point, Capture may be our only option, at least until we get backup. The two Chunin nodded. In that case we better help him. You stay behind Shikamaru, said Izumo. Shikamaru nodded. He wasn't that much of a frontal fighter anyway, and they still needed to come up with a solid plan to defeat that guy. The two Chunin were about to enter the fight, but were stopped when water suddenly raised from the ground and transformed into another Deadpool. Hi, said the copy. Wait, what? Asked Izumo confused. Kotetsu growled, it's a water clone, the bastard don't want us to intervene. Without warning, the Deadpool clone rushed to attack them, using two swords just like the original. The two were dodging and blocking the clone's attacks, but the clone was too fast for them to counterattack. It's as fast as the original, said Izumo, dodging an attack from the Deadpool clone. Kotetsu blocked the next attack with his sword, and strong as well, he said, trying to push the clone back, before getting a kick to the face and being sent flying to a tree. Have a nice trip, dumbass, said the clone. And annoying as well, said Kotetsu, grunting in pain while in midair. Kotetsu, yelled Izumo, blocking another attack from the clone. Seeing how everything was going, Shikamaru had no choice but to intervene. Shikamaru just sighed, how troublesome. Back to Kakuzu, who was still inside the exchange point, just delivered the monk's body. After some more processing and a lot of paperwork, he finally received the money from the bounty. Now he was just counting the money on a briefcase, making sure it was all in. You know that your partner is out there fighting some Konoha shinobi, right? Asked the man from the exchange post. I am aware, responded Kakuzu, not bothering to look away from the money. Aren't you gonna help him? He doesn't need my help, and if he at some point does need it, then he is just a bigger idiot than I thought. Maybe you were right, said the man, but still, why do you keep him around, Mr. Kakuzu? I know that you two have brought numerous bounties together all around the great nations, but he doesn't seem to be the type of person you would socialize with. Kakuzu didn't respond immediately, but it didn't take long for him to give an answer. He is a pest, and an annoying one that is, but it doesn't matter how many times I try to dispose of him, he always managed to come back. How so? Asked the man. Kakuzu closed the briefcase with the money, seeing that it was all in. Not wasting any time, Kakuzu sealed the money inside a scroll and put it inside his cloak. The fucker just won't stay dead, and even if someone managed to do so, he will just keep coming back. Kakuzu began to walk away, but either way, it was later on that I realized that it was useless keep trying, so I just accepted the facts and decided to work with him for as long as our mission takes. So that's how it is, said the man, not sure what to think about the weird relationship. Kakuzu only nodded, and without another word, Kakuzu left the room. Asuma was having a hard time. Not only was his opponent highly skilled in kenjutsu, but his physical strength and speed was something else. But the worst of all was that mouth of his. It just won't stop talking. Oh, don't mind me. I'm just gonna cut you in half with this, babies. You don't mind that, do you? Said Deadpool, swinging his swords at his opponent. Can you shut up for a second? Said the Jonin, blocking the masked man's attacks, and quickly returning one of his own. Deadpool blocked the attack, and with a spinning jump, he earned enough momentum for a powerful attack with his two katanas. How rude, I'm just trying to make a conversation, but if you are gonna be such an asshole then just tell me and be done with it already. The Konoha shinobi didn't hesitate and moved away, dodging the attack. Shut up, yelled Asuma. The Konoha Jonin and the missing nin clashed metal, sparks flying everywhere as both shinobi evaded and blocked each other's attack continuously. Dodging sideways the swings from Deadpool's swords, Asuma quickly counterattacked, managing to stab Deadpool in the stomach. Only for Deadpool to suddenly turn into Earth. An Earth clone? Asuma was surprised for a moment, and quickly tried to get away from the clone, but he was shocked when he was finding himself unable to move. Looking at his hand, he saw that it was completely inside the clone's body, trapped with no way out. What the? My hand is stuck, yelled Asuma, now even more shocked than before. While Asuma tried to get his hand back, the real Deadpool appeared behind him, both of his swords on his back. Crossing his arms on his chest, the red-masked shinobi laughed. Ha! Got ya, bitch. You fell right into my trap. I was kind of expecting more of a fight, to be honest, said Deadpool, in a very childish way. Seeing that the real Deadpool was behind him, Asuma didn't waste time and with his free hand, he threw one of his knife knuckles at the missing nin. Not surprised by the sudden attack, The Akatsuki member just unsheathed his sword and deflected the upcoming attack before putting the sword back on its sheath. All in a second. "The fight isn't over yet," said Asuma, taking another of his special knives from his shinobi pouch with his free hand. "That's the spirit," yelled Deadpool. Asuma just frowned and once again tried to free himself, using his knife and stabbing the Earth clone continuously, but without any progress. Deadpool began to take a few steps towards his trapped opponent. "Hey, remember that time when, you stuck a kunai into my head when you and your shitty little band show up? It really hurt, he said, pointing with his hand the deep cut on the forehead of his mask. "It's only fair if I return the favor, don't you agree?" Getting a kunai from inside his coat, Deadpool approached Asuma. "Sorry man, but your time is up, and now is time for you to say adios amigo." Not bothering to question the strange language his opponent used, Asuma was more worried about finding a way out of this situation. Still struggling to keep the clone's sword at bay with his own, Azuma grunted, his arms already giving up. "I know he is strong, but this is ridiculous, and he is just a clone. How can this be?" he said under his breath, sweat running down his face. Looking at his opponent's face, or his mask more precisely, the Chunin glared at the Akatsuki's clone. Who are you?" "Oh sorry, I didn't introduce myself to you guys, did I?" said the clone. The white eyes of his mask got smaller, showing his embarrassment. Scratching the back of his head with a hand, but still pushing Azuma with the sword with his other hand, the clone replied. "Well then, I'm Deadpool, or his clone to be precise. Nice to meet you," he said in a friendly tone and waving his hand at the Konoha shinobi. Azuma was taken back by the sudden action, not sure to be surprised by how the missing nin was just using one hand to push him, or be confused by fact that he was acting this friendly in a situation like this. I mean, come on, they are trying to kill each, for Kami's sake. Without anyone noticing, a shadow in the form of a hand began to crawl its way on the clone's leg and continue its way until it reached its neck. What the? The Deadpool clone felt a strong grip on his neck as the shadow began to strangle him to death. Letting his katana fall to the ground, as the sudden loss of air began to take effect, which was strange since he was completely made out of water. Trying desperately to free himself, his hands rubbing the shadow on his neck in an attempt to break free, but ended up being useless as shadows can't be touched. Falling to his knees, the clone could only say one thing: "Can't believe I fell for that trick, again. Well, at least I'm gonna die with style." The clone's head suddenly exploded, throwing water to every direction, the rest of the body turning into water. Sighing with relief, Azuma let himself fall to his knees, happy that he was finally able to take break. "Thanks Shikamaru, you really saved this one," he said, looking behind his back, where the young Nara was doing his well-known signature hand sign. "I don't know how much more my arms would have resisted," said the Chunin, giving a small tired smile before looking for his friend who was currently lying on a broken tree. Shikamaru only nodded, feeling exhausted from using the Kage Kubashibari no Jutsu, ninja art. Shadow Strangle Jutsu. The jutsu just takes a lot of chakra. He needed to rest, but there was hardly any time for that. Taking a moment, Shikamaru began to analyze the situation. "This guy, Deadpool, I think he calls himself, is no normal shinobi," thought Shikamaru, recalling the beginning of the battle. "For what I saw, he possessed great strength, great reflexes, and from what I saw in the beginning with his fight with Asuma, he is also really fast and is very skilled with kenjutsu." Looking at the pool of water that used to be Deadpool's clone, Shikamaru continued, "Until now, the only jutsu he has used is Mizu Bunshin no Jutsu, water clone jutsu. A very basic one." He then turned to face Azuma, who was now walking towards him while carrying Katetsu on his shoulder, but the damage it caused, that fight left Azuma and Katetsu in a very bad shape. Staring at the ground, Shikamaru frowned. There was also the fact that he took a kunai to the head and just stood up like nothing happened. There is a lot of different possibilities for this. It could be that maybe he doesn't feel pain, but even if that was the case, he would have died from blood lost, with or without pain, but there was almost no blood, and he didn't do anything to stop the bleeding. He didn't care that much at all, so my best guess would be that his injury closed by itself. It heal, but how? No, there is no time for that. The fact was that he has the ability to heal in matter of seconds, but how far that ability goes? Do physical attacks have no effect on him at all? No, it may depend on the type of injury he gets, but still, like we stated before, The only way to defeat him may be restraining him. Incapacitating him is probably the best course of action. But the questions is still there. Just how much this ability goes. He is strong, the stronger enemy I have ever faced. There is no doubt, but I guess that's to be expected. He is a member of Akatsuki after all, thought Shikamaru. Also, another concern that he has is that the other Akatsuki member was nowhere to be seen, which was getting Shikamaru more nervous each second. Walking beside Shikamaru, Azumo let Kotetsu rest on the ground. You really need to lose some weight, you know, said Azumo to his partner, earning a glare from said person. Damn it, Azumo. Now it's not the time, said Kotetsu, now staring at his injury on his chest. Just where the water clone kick him. I still can't believe a clone could be that strong. Just who is this guy? Getting a look from his partner, Azumo turned to Shikamaru. Now that I think about, when did he got the time to make a clone anyway? The Nara looked at Azumo. That's something I still don't understand. From the moment we made contact, there is no way he had time to make a water clone, let alone hide it from sight. There was no time for that. Then how? It didn't take long for Shikamaru to realize how. His eyes winded in shock, sweat running down his face. No, it can't be, but how did he? Damn it. Azumo and Kotetsu looked at Shikamaru in concern. What is it, Shikamaru? Said Azumo, trying to see the problem. The bastard, mumbled Shikamaru, before looking at his two teammates. Remember when we first saw him, the thing he was doing and what he made us think. Azumo and Kotetsu looked at Shikamaru, both remembering the time the young Nara said. Kotetsu was the first to realize what Shikamaru was implying. Azumo a few seconds later, wait, you don't mean? Shikamaru only nodded in anger. Yes, the bastard was playing with us the whole time. I need to pee real bad right now. Aw man, I really needed that. Singing the pee song, whistle, the pee song. What kind of asshole, aside from me of course, would attack people while they're taking a piss? Returning to reality, Shikamaru grunted in anger. The bastard, he was playing with us from the very beginning. He always knew we were there. He just wanted us to reveal ourselves, said Shikamaru, shaking his fists in anger as he let his words fall into his teammates. He wasn't the one who fell into the trap, it was us who fell for it. The two Chunin were looking at Shikamaru with their eyes wide open. They were all in complete shock. But even so, how did he know? Thought Shikamaru. It didn't take long before Kotetsu broke the silence. Wait, does that mean that the water clone was made of? The Chunin's eyes got a lot bigger when realization hit him. Kotetsu stood up and began to shake his fists to the air in a comically blind rage. You motherfucker. I'll kill you, shouted Kotetsu, but was suddenly restrained by his partner Azumo, who currently trying to calm his friend down. Kotetsu has every right to be angry. Azumo knew that, after all, he was defeated by piss. If they survive this, he will definitely become the laughing topic in the village. Calm yourself, Kotetsu, yelled Shikamaru. The two Chunin turned to Shikamaru, both surprised by his sudden outburst. Shikamaru, said Kotetsu. Right now Asuma is barely handling him, and from what we saw, he is no joke. He possesses the ability to recover from injuries in seconds. If he can take a kunai to the head, he may be near to impossible to kill. So like we said before, incapacitating him may be our only option, said the Nara. Getting nervous looks from the two other Chunin, but is easier said than done. We need a plan, but we need to work together to make it work. Just follow my lead, you'll know what to do next. Good to know, then I guess I'll have to kill you first. Everyone was caught off guard as an unknown voice was heard. Futon. Atsugai. Without warning they were all sent flying by a strong tornado-like mass. The wind pressure was too strong that they were barely able to escape it. Once the three regained themselves, the three Chunin were kneeling. Azumo was the first to ask, what the hell was that? Shikamaru frowned. A wind-based jutsu, answered Shikamaru, seeing that the situation just got a lot more complicated. But Asuma is fighting the guy in red over there, said Kotetsu. Shikamaru sighed, then I guess he finally decided to show up. Both Azumo and Kotetsu were about to ask, who? But their question was already answered as a new figure made itself known. Just like Deadpool, this new figure was wearing a black cloak with reed clouds, a mask and a Takigakure headband with a slash on it. It was none other than Kakuzu. Konoha Shinobi, I guess that was expected, after all, we are not that far from Konoha, said the money-obsessed Akatsuki. Let's make this quick, time is money. Shikamaru growled, how troublesome. Without any warning, Deadpool sprinted towards Asuma, his kunai high and ready to stab the Jonin in the heart. But as soon as he stabbed Asuma, a cloud of smoke suddenly appeared, revealing a trunk with Deadpool's kunai impaled in it. Oh, you must be fucking kidding me. Slash. The trunk hit the ground, an impaled kunai being held by a sliced arm with it. Looking at the scene awkwardly, Deadpool let out a small laugh. Can you give me a hand? He was suddenly kicked a few meters back. Okay, that's just being mean, said Deadpool, staring at the only part of his arm left. For those who didn't understand what the hell just happened, Asuma used the substitution jutsu and sliced Deadpool's arm. But it didn't end it there. Before Deadpool could react, Asuma quickly gained some distance and spews a stream of chakra-infused gunpowder from his mouth, surrounding Deadpool in it. As the gunpowder is composed entirely of ash, it stayed in the air around the Deadpool like a cloud. Hey Akatsuki, want to see a red cloud? Said Asuma. No, answered Deadpool, not really liking where this was going. Here is one. I fucking hate you, smoker. Being out of the smoke radios, Asuma ignited the surrounding the ash with a flint placed on his teeth before creating a spark, resulting in a violent explosion, burning Deadpool alive. The resulting explosion was so big that even Asuma needed to cover his eyes from the intensity of the fire. The ground, including the building beside them, were shaking. Once the explosion was over, aside from the remaining fire, the entire area was covered in a smokescreen, covering all visibility, including the sun. Asuma looked at his handiwork and sighed. He was sure that the Akatsuki member was dead, and even if he did manage to survive the explosion, he was sure that he was badly wounded, regardless if he survived a knife to the head, but he could barely see. That was one of the downfalls of that technique. Damn it, I can't see a damn thing, mumbled Asuma. Regardless of the smoke, he was sure the Akatsuki member was down for good. How wrong he was. Eye for an eye, motherfucker, said a voice in Asuma's ear. Asuma's eyes winded in shock, and before he could even turn around, he was suddenly hit by a powerful kick, sending him far away from the cloud of smoke. The Sarutobi grunted in pain as he hit the ground. Opening his eyes, he noticed that he was finally out of the smoke. Getting himself off the ground, he quickly got ready to fight. He didn't have time to question how was the missing nin even alive, but it didn't matter at the moment. He suddenly grunted in pain. What the? To say as a fact, Asuma was speechless, his mouth hanging wide open, and for the first time in a long time, his eyes winded in horror. His left arm was gone. Still in shock, Asuma thought, how can this be? But I didn't feel a thing. When did he? Looking at the cloud of smoke, Asuma grunted in pain, and with his still remaining arm, covered his severed one in an attempt to stop the bleeding. That bastard did it when I was inside the smoke. Damn you. So that's what you mean when you said, eye for an eye? You bastard, thought Asuma. A few moments later, a maniacal laughter was heard, and a figure emerged from the smoke. Ignoring the pain and focusing on the emerging figure, Asuma growled in rage as the figure was none other than Deadpool, laughing like if he just heard the funniest joke ever. Asuma could only get to one conclusion. This guy is out of his freaking mind. Deadpool's Akatsuki cloak was burned and torn, but it still served its purpose. His swords were on his back and his right arm was still missing. But the most unique characteristic was Deadpool's mask. His left half was burned, showing one of his eyes and only part of his disfigured face, but his mouth, nose and ear were still covered. Aside from all of that, he was standing perfectly fine. Taking a few steps forward, already out the smoke and still laughing, his shoulders shaking like a madman. It was almost like a horror movie. It was terrifying, especially with the still visible fire in the background. Deadpool's only visible eye was probably the most terrifying thing. It was a Byakugan, and it was activated. A Byakugan? Yelled Asuma in shock, his pain already forgotten. How is this possible? Is he a Hyuga? This guy is full of surprises, thought Asuma, as he frowned. But this kind of explains a lot of things. How he was able to see me throw the smoke, and more importantly, the way he fights. He really is a terrifying and formidable enemy. After a few more seconds, Deadpool finally ceased laughing. What, are you surprised? I thought it was obvious since, white eyes and all. Anyway, I am surprised. You are really strong. It's been a while since the last time someone hurt me this much in a fight. I'll give you that, but I think it's time to end this, don't you think? Said Deadpool. taking a katana from his back with his remaining arm. Asuma gritted his teeth. We can't win this, there is no other option, we have to retreat, thought Asuma. He tried to move, but his legs soon gave up, falling into one knee. I can't move, he said, as he felt darkness taking over his vision. He couldn't help but give a last sad smile. It seemed that my time has come. Closing his eyes, the Jonin sighed. I'm sorry, Kurenai, and without any warning, Asuma fell unconscious from blood loss and exhaustion. Deadpool raised an eyebrow. He doesn't have. Is that it? What a shame, I was expecting a last stand type of battle. Oh well, easier for me then. Walking towards the unconscious form of Asuma, Deadpool kicked the body, turning it around, but as soon as it moved, something fell from his pocket. What is this? He said to himself, his curiosity getting the better of him. Picking it up, Deadpool soon found himself looking at the picture of a beautiful young woman, his naked eyes staring at the picture without any emotion. Normally he would make a comment on how hot the chick was and kill the guy, but something felt off, like if something was telling him not to do it. Was that what people call, what is it called again, mercy? Yes, it was mercy, but why? He tried to think in a reason why these emotions would even cross his mind, but it only make his head hurt. In the end, he made his decision. Not worth it, said Deadpool, as he began to walk away, throwing the picture to the ground and putting his katana back on its sheath. Leaving behind a still breathing Asuma. The three Chunin could barely do anything against the old shinobi. They were exhausted and almost out of chakra, they didn't stand a chance. Shikamaru, Katetsu and Azuma were breathing heavily, taking some distance away from Kakuzu. They could only look as said masked shinobi prepared another attack. Hey Stitches, said Deadpool from behind, earning an irritated growl from his partner. Sorry if I'm running your fun, but we need to go, there are more of these guys on their way here, and I'm feeling kind of hungry right now. Kakuzu took a moment to look at his partner. You look like shit, did that Jonin give you that much trouble? Said Kakuzu, referring to Deadpool's actual appearance. Ha ha, very funny, he responded, opting to not answer. Anyway, I see you got the money, good, can we leave then? Those guys will be here in no time, and I'm sure as hell that I don't want to stay any longer near that shithole over there, he said, referring to the building behind them. Kakuzu sighed, fine, but next time don't take too long. Yeah, whatever, let's just get out of here. And with a Shunshin no Jutsu, the two Akatsuki members disappeared. The three Chunin couldn't help but let out a sigh of relief. They may have failed the mission, but at least they were alive. But then, Shikamaru's eyes winded. Wait, where is Asuma? Before any of the other two shinobi could do something, Shikamaru was already looking for his sensei. It didn't take long for him to find him at the other side of the cloud of smoke. And for his relief, his sensei was alive. Inside of what could only be described as a dark cave, a plant-looking thing came out the ground. It was Zetsu, with his black and white half. We have some news that you may found interesting, said the white one, earning the attention of an orange-masked figure. It's regarding our little masked friend, Irisin Wataru, said the black one. Talk, said the masked figure. Not too long after their confrontation with the Konoha shinobi, our favorite immortal duo were called by none other than their leader, to fulfill one of the many responsibilities they have as part of Akatsuki. Extracting the tailed beast from their Jinchuriki host. Inside what could be described as nothing more but a very dark cave, were the holographic images of some of the Akatsuki member inside the organization, who were currently alive of course, standing in the fingers of a very weird-ass creepy-looking statue, that would probably let you wondering, what the fuck was the artist thinking? Standing in each of the statue's fingers were the blurry images of some of the most dangerous people in the elemental nations. All doing the same hand sign that activated the jutsu that was extracting the tailed beast from none other than Niyugito. The two tails Jinchuriki, who was currently floating in the air as the beast and her life were being taken away from her body, and going right into the statue. These people, while they were all different in their own personal way, they all possess one thing in common. They were all hardcore badass S-ranked shinobi. First we have Hoshigaki Kisame, also known as the Monster of the Hidden Mist, former member of the 7 Ninja Swordsmen of the Mist, and the wielder of the sentient blade Samahata, a scale-covered sword that shaves flesh instead of cutting it, which is also capable of detecting and absorbing chakra. He also looks like a shark. Neve talk about his strange colored blue skin near the guy, he gets depressed. Then we have Uchiha Itachi, one of the last members of the Uchiha clan, and wielder of the Sharingan. He was once known as a natural prodigy back on his village. He joined the Anbu ranks at a very young age, but become an international criminal after murdering his entire clan. He also has brother issues, but he doesn't like to talk about it. There is also Deidara, a dedicated artist and master of explosions. Need a big boom? He is the perfect guy for the job. He also has mouths on his hands, kind of let you wondering what else he does with those things besides eating clay all day. Kakuzu, an extremely powerful ninja and as old as your grandma's grandma. He works as Akatsuki's treasurer and is also a hearts thief. He also doesn't like to be called Stitches. Konan the Angel of Omegacure, a founding member of the original Akatsuki. A very powerful kunoichi and a renowned master of the paper ninjutsu. She is also very hot, but she is always so serious and does not like to talk that much. Pain, or at least that's how he presents himself to the rest of the members. He is Akatsuki's current leader and probably the strongest in the entire organization and also has some weird eyes, not sure why. He also has a small problem of God complex, poor dude. And finally, Deadpool. Sue, is anybody gonna said something or what? We've been here for like almost 2 fucking hours and nobody has said even a hello. Said the hologram of the masked shinobi. Are we just gonna stand here and say nothing until this thing it's done? Come on guys. Live a little. This place feels like an antisocial club. Kisame raised an eyebrow. That doesn't have any sense. How can there be a club that is antisocial? Deidara's image sighed. Oh man, not again. Ignoring the bomber's comment, Deadpool looked at Kisame. Hey Jaws, said Deadpool to Kisame, earning the swordsman's attention. What? Responded the shark-looking man. Do you mind if I borrow your sword for the rest of the week? I always wanted to try it out and give it a couple of swings, you know, the stuff you always do, please. Said Deadpool almost begging. And he was saying the true. What else could you do with such a thing? To say the true, he was getting tired of always seeing his blue coworker carrying such a badass sword, and not being able to try it himself. At seeing Deadpool's hopeful eyes, Kisame grinned. Only if you can wield it, said incredulously the former swordsman of the mist. Samahata is not a regular sword. It's a sentient weapon that eats the chakra of others and as such, it's conscious and it chooses its own user by itself. So hardly anyone can wield it. If you try to even grab it and it doesn't like you, you may lose your hand, said Kisame with a sadistic smile. Deadpool stared at Kisame with a deadpan face. Is that a yes or no? Deidara hologram facepalmed, not caring for the mouth on his hand. Kisame was taken back by the answer, to say the true. He knew how Deadpool was, and while he didn't exactly like the guy that much, he didn't hate him either. In fact, Kisame finds him amusing and likes the change of atmosphere the red masked man gives to the dark organization. Even so, he didn't expected such a stupid answer, but hey, he is Deadpool, what did you expect? It didn't take long before Kisame turned to face the image of Kakuzu, looking at him with a questioning look that said, is this guy for real? Kakuzu just sighed. I don't want to talk about it, said Kakuzu, making clear to the swordsman that he didn't wanted to pursue the topic any further. Deadpool looked at his partner. You are an antisocial jerk, you know that Stitches. I'm getting tired of this, mumbled an annoyed Deidara under his breath. And seriously, what's with the hologram thingy? Do we have bad reception or what? This is worse than Star Wars hologram, said Deadpool. Star what now? Said a confused Kisame. That's it, yelled the mad bomber. When are you gonna stop blathering all that nonsense? Do you ever shut up, you stupid clown? Deadpool shrugged. I may if you pay me, but don't expect any special discount, even if you look like a girl. A tick mark appeared on Deidara's forehead. I'm gonna show you my art if you don't shut up, yelled the artist, before turning to the old shinobi. Seriously Kakuzu, how do you stand this guy? I just do, answered the immortal, already annoyed. Deadpool, called Conan's image, getting Deadpool's attention. Please be quiet, this ritual is already very stressful for many of us, and you are not helping at all, so please avoid disturbing the others and continue the extraction, ordered the blue-haired woman. The blue-haired kunoichi gave a deep sigh, because as she suspected, her words probably didn't get into Deadpool's head. Conan my girl, long time no see, how you been? Greeted Deadpool, ignoring the glares he was receiving from the other members. Especially from the Akatsuki leader. Have you been working out? 'Cause you look gorgeous? Conan narrowed her eyes at Deadpool, but decided to ignore him as he continued talking and talking and talking. She was already used to her coworker antics, especially the comments directed to her. While she does find Deadpool's attitude quite annoying sometimes, she cannot doubt the results the man can provide. He truly was a shinobi whose strength should be respected. She does not know his true capabilities at all. Nobody does. Not even her friend Nagato, or as he prefers to call himself in front of the other members, Pain, knows for sure. The closest one to know more would be probably his own partner, Kakuzu. With no doubt, this was probably one of the reasons why the man known as Madara appointed him as one of the primary candidates to acquire to join the organization. She closed her eyes, remembering the day she first meet the man, the day she first meet Iris and Wataru. 7 years ago, on a small town near the Iwagakure, in the Land of Earth, certain red-masked shinobi was inside the local canteen. Leaning against the bar with part of his mask up, revealing only his scarred mouth, taking a drink from a glass full of sake. As everyone could guess, this was our friendly neighborhood shinobi, Deadpool. He was not the only one on the canteen. The people on the other tables were staring strangely at the masked shinobi, which was not surprise, considering his current attire. You could hardly tell if he was a shinobi or not because of the skin-tight red and black suit he was wearing, the kind of suit no one else besides certain green youthful man would wear. Accompanying his red suit were multiple pouches, scattered all over his body, all carrying either kunai, shuriken or ninja scrolls. He was also carrying a katana on his back. Finishing his drink, he didn't waste time to ask for another one. "Hey bartender, another one. Problems don't disappear by themselves, you know. At least not without a good drink," said the Deadpool. The bartender did as he was asked, and filled a glass. "What brings a guy like yourself to a place like this, if I may ask?" said the bartender in his stupid voice. "Meh, nothing especial, just getting a well-deserved break. Just finished a job and I already feel like the Tsuchikage's grandfather. Even killed some people on my way here actually," said Deadpool, taking a sip from his drink before continuing. "Man, this sucks." Must be tough. You are a mercenary, right? A shinobi? Mind telling what happened?" said the bartender, now leaning on the other side of the bar. Now that you mention it, it's kind of a funny story actually. You see, I was Iris and Wataru." Deadpool stooped, as everyone's attention suddenly turned to the newcomer. A cold current of wind passed through the room, and the temperature soon drooped. Or as some people know you, Deadpool, the Kuchi to Shinobu, the shinobi with a mouth. Feeling the killing intent that was filling the room, everybody inside the canteen didn't wasted time relieved. Even the bartender rushed to the exit in fear, knowing full well how a battle between shinobis could end. Deadpool didn't bother to turn around, and chose to rather pull his mask down and stay in his place on the bar. But that didn't stop him from asking, "Where did you hear that name?" Deadpool turned his head around, only to face a blue-haired woman, wearing a long black cloak with red clouds. It was Conan. At any day he would have given her one of his best lines, and try hitting on her, but now it was different. She knew something. "You came here to kill me?" said Deadpool. Before she could answer, in nothing but an instant, Deadpool had his katana in hand, and was next to Conan, the sword only a few centimeters away from her neck. "Talk?" demanded Deadpool in full seriousness. "Who are you? And how do you know my name?" No fooling around this time. Conan didn't seem fazed by the sudden move, or the threatening tone his voice took. "My name is Conan, and I've come here to invite you to Akatsuki," she said, her voice showing no emotion. Grunting in confusion, Deadpool's white eyes made contact with hers. "Aka what? What is that? Some kind of band or something?" "Okay, maybe just fooling a little." "Akatsuki," she corrected him. "We are an organization made entirely of S-rank missing nin who have nowhere to go, just like you, and we need your power at our side to help us complete our goals, so come and lend us your strength." "Yeah, I'm sure you say that to every guy you meet," said Deadpool, not really caring about that. "But I'm no missing nin. I'm not even sure from what village I hail from, but you probably know that. After all, it seems that you know about me, which brings me to my first question." Getting his katana closer to her neck, "I never told anybody my name, so tell me, how do you know my name?" he said, with venom on his voice. Still unfazed by his threat, Conan replied, "Akatsuki has vast spy network covering all of the elemental nations, and some of the best informants working for us. Any information we may need is bound to be found sooner or later. And how much do you know about me? Not more than you do. Iris and San, aside from your name, your reputation as a mercenary and the special ability that you possess, we hardly found anything at all. Deadpool stared at her eyes once more, trying to see if she was lying, but after a few seconds he found nothing. Fuck, he yelled in anger, taking his sword away from her neck and put it back on its sheath, all while cursing on his breath. Every fucking time, damn it, thought Deadpool, as he was feeling very frustrated. Every time I have a clue for my past, or something with some relation to it, it slips away. No matter how many times I try, or how hard I try, I get nowhere, and now that someone who claims to know my name appears, it ends up she doesn't know a fucking damn thing. Conan watched with interest, but not losing her serious expression, at the masked man as he kicked a chair in anger, breaking it, and flipped a table around. She knew about Wataru's lack of memories. It wasn't hard to find out. She also knew that he has been looking for information about his past all over the Great Five Nations for years now during his travels, all while doing jobs, but with no luck, so it was no surprise seeing him like this. She wasn't sure why Madara sent her for the masked shinobi. His speed was something else. Even if she could easily have turned into paper and escape his grasp, she was still impressed. Still, as she continued observing the red masked man in his fit of rage, she couldn't help but wonder one thing. How would it be like to have no memory of her past at all? She could only wonder. While she knew pain and suffering very well, she wasn't able to imagine herself forgetting her friends Nagato and Yahiko. It was true that there was no greater pain than losing a loved one, but to not remember the people you care for at all? To forget those moments that you spend with said person? Those memories that makes them so special to you? While Yahiko may have died, his memories still reside inside her. So if she and Nagato somehow died, who would remember their friend? Who would remember them? Nobody. They would just cease to exist, forever. That was the only thing that she feared more than dead, complete forgetfulness. To forget the people you care about is the same as losing them. No, it's the same as never having them at all. And to make Wataru's case worse, he couldn't end his suffering even if he wanted to, all because of the special ability he has. The curse he has. Staring once again at the masked shinobi in front of her, as he finally ceased his fit of rage and was now seating on a chair while holding his head with both hands, repressing the storm of emotions he must be feeling at the very moment. In a way, she felt sympathy for him. Don't misunderstand, he was an assassin, a cold-blooded killer, a shinobi, just like her, but that didn't mean she couldn't sympathize with him at all. While he probably didn't know the pain of losing a lost one, he obviously knew the pain of not having anyone at all. To being all alone and know nothing of himself at all. That's why she waited for the moment he would calm down, before finally deciding to speak. As she walked closer to Deadpool, he didn't fail to notice her. What do you want now? Can't you see I'm fucking depressed? You didn't let me finish telling you my offer, she said, earning a look from Deadpool. In exchange for you joining Akatsuki, we will gladly help you in your quest for the answers of your past, and any information related to you Iris and San will be given to you immediately, said the kunoichi. Deadpool's white eyes were as big as watermelons. This offer was too good to be true. This is, man, I can't even say what this is. But whoa, fuck it, I'm in. This can't get any better, thought Deadpool in joy. Also, as long as you complete your work, anything else you care to do is your own business. In just a few seconds, Deadpool's attitude suddenly changed from a sad one to a cheerful one, his eyes making the figure of a half-moon, as a show of happiness. Nodding happily, Deadpool crossed his arms. Okay, you convinced me, but I'll join in one condition, he said, raising a finger to make his point. Conan couldn't help but raise an eyebrow, and that would be? Let me invite you to dinner, he said, pointing at himself with a cheerful grin behind his mask. It was barely noticeable, but Conan's eyes widened a little. She didn't expected this, not at all. Getting a hold on herself, she let out a deep sigh. Well, at least dinner is better than a fight. Unlike every other Akatsuki recruitment, this was going way better than the typical "I'll join if you beat me" thing, she thought. Looking back at Deadpool, excitement evident behind his mask, she just noticed that he was actually a bit taller than her. But ignoring that, she just nodded in arrangement. If that's how it is, then I see no problem. Then count me in, angel eyes, yelled Deadpool happily. Not surprised by Deadpool's reaction, and ignoring his little compliment, Conan nodded again to the masked man. Then it's settle Iris and San. Welcome to Akatsuki. Oh, and that's another thing. Please call me Deadpool when we are in front of other people. I have a reputation to keep, you know, and when it's just the two of us, call me Wataru. Conan just stared at him, emotionless. Very well, Wataru-san. Nice, now back to the future. Excuse me, what? Don't worry, just stand there and look cute. Back in the present, or the future if you like, I don't care. Back in the present, Conan opened her eyes and glanced towards Deadpool's hologram image, who was still talking. An annoyed Deidara not too far behind. Recalling the topic from before, Deadpool's background was still unknown, even for him. The only information known about him was his name and nothing more. Even that was hard to find. He may not use any flashy jutsus like many other shinobi prefer to use. Unlike them, he used his skills to permanently define his place in the shinobi category, where he became a professional in one specific thing. Kill. She had witnessed his abilities at first hand in some of the missions they have done together. He was a soldier, a real shinobi, there was no doubt, but he was also a professional assassin. His regenerative abilities were truly frightening. Combining them with his extremely unconventional way of thinking and unpredictability makes him a dangerous enemy, and a powerful ally. In another note, between the Akatsuki members, Deidara was the most bored of all of them. His eyes half closed, were only staring at the darkness beyond the cave. He then glanced at Itachi, who stayed quiet almost the entire meeting, never saying a word. God, I hate that guy, almost as much as the masked freak, he thought. Now staring at Deadpool, who was still talking to himself. Deadpool, he growled at the thought of the name. While he did have small tolerance for idiots, Deadpool didn't have any at all. His annoying remarks and stupid comments were the bane of his existence. At least Toby just acted stupid but almost never said anything offensive. But this guy was a completely other story. He was an asshole and a complete maniac. So yeah, he didn't like the guy at all. Hey Itachi, called Deadpool, staring at the Uchiha's image. You've been awfully quiet all this time. What? Did you finally got a girlfriend? Oh, I'm so proud of you, Itachi-kun. What? Nothing to say. Seriously, say something, you are creeping me out. Seeing that he was getting no response, Deadpool narrowed his eyes at Itachi and then turned to the Uchiha's partner. Hey, he can hear me, right? Yes, responded the swordsman of the mist, grinning while looking at Deadpool's annoyed face. He is just ignoring you. Deidara laughed. The better question would be, does he even care about anything you have to say? Deadpool just grunted. Alright, have it your way Itachi, but you are officially uninvited to my birthday party, so I'm totally gonna invite your little brother instead, so suck it, continued Deadpool. Anyway, changing to a more super important subject. Have any of you guys considered my idea of turning this into an only profit organization? Let's forget all this plotting world domination business and do something a little less creepy. Let's just focus on the money like we've been doing all this years. Why change? He said, earning a nod from Kakuzu, who couldn't help but agree with his partner, as rare as it was. I don't know about you guys, but I fail to see why sucking someone's soul would even help us anyway. Yeah, we got a tailed pet, so what? I like money. Everyone likes money. Even Stitches sleeps with money all the time, so what gives? Said Deadpool, looking at the dying Yugito that was floating in the air, then at the image of their leader, Pain. His ringed eyes and emotionless face staring back at him. Also, we are not gonna do anything to her body, right? Deidara, I'm looking at you. Fuck off. Deadpool called the Akatsuki leader to the masked shinobi. Regardless of your personal opinion, you and Kakuzu have been doing a good work in getting more money for the organization, since we require a large amount of money to help us complete our goals. Why thank you Leader Sama. But do not forget your place. Working with us means working for us. If we achieve our goals, yours will be met that much faster, is that clear? Said Pain, still looking at him. Wait, there is actually a fucking reason for us to do this shit? Said Deadpool, actually surprised. I thought we were only doing this for the money and for the sake of fucking with people. At least that's what I thought until a few minutes ago. It was in that moment that everyone's attention focused in the sole image of their leader. It's true that right now we have a pressing need for money, however, like I mentioned before, your efforts along with Kakuzu's have helped us have an economic stability far greater than what we had hoped for. Even so, Akatsuki's true plans have always lain elsewhere. Kakuzu grunted, so all this time, the money was never intended to be that much of a necessity, am I right? Deadpool sighed. Well, now that's what I call bullshit. All that money gone for nothing, he said with a fake tear on his eye. Payne glanced towards the image of the two masked shinobi. We merely needed a vast amount of money to accomplish our goals. I can guarantee that all the money has been put in good use. Deidara's eyes narrowed. If that's the case, then what are our true goals then? Asked the Mad Bomber. All of Akatsuki's goals lead to the same path. To specify things, it can be broken down into 3 steps. Said the leader. The first is to amass money, just like we were doing all this years. The second is to use the money to create the first true mercenary organization the shinobi world has ever seen. Sorry dude, but I'm going to tell you the same thing I told to the guy who thought he invented the toilet paper. It's been already done. Ninja villages, remember? Said Deadpool. Payne only stare at him. I am aware of how similar it sounds to the current shinobi system, but the countries with large and powerful ninja villages get the bulk of their capital through the shinobi business by fighting battles both within and beyond their borders. These villages earn large amounts of money, essentially acting as the foundation of the country's economy. And so they can keep going. They need war, continued Kisame, already familiar with how things really work on the shinobi world. The Akatsuki leader nodded. Exactly, but nowadays, most missions amount to small skirmishes. The large destructive wars have all but disappeared, and as a result, many shinobi have lost their place as the countries continue cutting expenses. Shinobi who lived only to fight and risked their lives for their nation, and were thanked by being abandoned. Kakuzu could only growl as the memory of his village come in mind. He hated that place. The 5 great nations are in no danger, and while both the countries themselves and their villages are well respected, they have many clients, within the country and others past their border, but doesn't work for the smaller ones, he said, getting more into detail. It cost a lot to maintain a shinobi village, and those costs remain the same in both war and peacetime. But if those smaller villages reduce their forces too drastically, they won't be able to survive if a war breaks out. Deadpool could only stare, trying to grasp what he just heard. Okay, you lost me there. What do any of that have to do with us? I thought we were just supposed to fight and kick ass. Why should we care about all this politics bullshit? Because what Akatsuki is doing, what we all are doing, will change everything, including the way the shinobi world works, declared the Akatsuki leader. How so? Asked Deidara. Simple, unlike any other shinobi village, Akatsuki will have no allegiance to any country, mobilizing only when necessary, using our shinobi only when required, declared Payne. Looking at the rest of the Akatsuki's images, we'll build up our forces through those small villages and countries, and create an army to bring war. In the beginning, we'll fight any war for a minor cost, single-handedly gaining control of the war trade, and as word spreads, we'll start using the tailed beast to manufacture our own wars, ones as big or small as the market requires. Before long we'll have a monopoly on war. Oh, I love that game, yelled Deadpool, earning a glare from each member. Ignoring Deadpool, the leader continued, the entire ninja village system will fail, and the 5 great countries will be forced to use Akatsuki. Then, and only then, will we have achieved our true goal. That is the second step. Man, that's one a hell of a step, interrupted you-know-who. Extending his arm in front of him, looking at the palm of his hand, the Akatsuki leader continued. The third, and final step. We will control the world. You know I was joking when I said, world domination, right? Deadpanned Deadpool. Seriously, you could have skipped all the cliché, villain dialogue, crab and just say, conquer the motherfucking world maggots, or something. It could have saved us a few minutes. Once again ignoring his partner's idiotic gambling, Kakuzu's image closed his eyes. It's really ambitious, said the old shinobi, before opening them again. I like it. Seem like there will be a lot more money in this. Kisami's hologram just grinned. The shark-looking swordsman didn't really care about conquering the world or whatever, but knowing that there would be a lot of fights in the future kind of exited him. Deidara was the same. As long as he could show his art to the world, he didn't give a damn. The only silent ones were Conan and Itachi. While Conan didn't comment, as she already knew Akatsuki's true goal, Itachi's thoughts were unknown. People could only guess what the Uchiha was thinking. Hey Leader Sama, called Deadpool, now that you finish your evil monologue, mind if I ask how much longer will this thing take before we finish? 3 days. Oh, okay, wait, 3 days. But Kakuzu and I are standing in the middle of a fucking rain. Kakuzu just grunted, Deadpool, shut up. Oh come on Stitches. How can you stand this? Weren't you the one that always says, time is money? Were you serious or you were just fucking with me? He said with a mocking tone, but got no reply. Oh man, this sucks, complained Deadpool as he could only sigh, but then I thought crossed his head. Hey, where is the rookie anyway? Toby was it? I like the guy. He seems really nice. Oh and that shitty walking plant too. The Akatsuki leader's image didn't bother to look at him. They are on a mission right now, so they cannot join us. Lucky bastard, mumbled Deadpool, getting a small laugh from Kisame, amused by the masked shinobi's childish attitude. In other news, we are also gonna have a new member joining us soon, said the leader, getting the attention of some of the present members. Seeing that Deidara still needs a new partner for his next Jinchuriki hunt, he will be paired with him, so I expect good results. Deidara hologram sighed. Oh great, another weirdo, he said sarcastically. Says the guy with the mouths on his hands that looks like a woman, joked Kisame, getting an annoyed look from the artist. Shut your mouth shark boy, nobody asked your opinion. My, do you kiss your mother with those mouths, young lady? Said the monster of the mist with a small chuckle. Deidara just grunted, man this can't get any worse. Hey guys, want to play a game? Said Deadpool. Kisame grinned, yeah why not, 3 days it's too long, may as well kill the boredom. Deidara sighed again, I hate you guys. I know you mean love. Far away from the Akatsuki hideout, back in the land of fire. At the time when the confrontation with the Akatsuki members ended, Shikamaru, Azumo and Katetsu carried an unconscious Asuma and brought him as soon as they could back to the village. They were fearing for Asuma's life, but no one was more afraid than Shikamaru, especially after seeing the monsters that were the 2 Akatsuki members they fought, and finding Asuma's body lying on the ground and bleeding to death with a missing arm. He couldn't find the words to describe how he felt in that moment. Damn it, how could this have happened? How could I have been so careless? Those were the things Shikamaru was thinking inside his head with frustration. Even now that he was standing next to Asuma, who was currently lying on a bed of one of the many rooms from the village's hospital, he still felt like wanting to scream in frustration at his mistake, since he felt that it was his fault that things ended the way they did, especially since he knew that today he almost lost his sensei. But he couldn't do that, now was not the time. The Hokage, Senju Tsunade, was present and still processing the information he just gave her about their confrontation with the Akatsuki. Looking at Asuma's direction, he could see Shizune injecting some kind of medical serum in his sensei's arm. They were the only people in the room. Azumo and Katetsu were checking up in one of the other rooms in the hospital, so they were not there neither. Also, they already sent a messenger to Kurenai sensei. If he had to guess, he would say that she will arrive soon. He turned his gaze back to the Hokage. She looked stressed, there was no doubt. He could not blame her, these days were truly troublesome and the Hokage was paying the price, so he decided to keep waiting for a response. For his luck, he didn't need to wait that long. I see then, she said, looking at Shikamaru with her arms crossed. I expect a detailed report about everything that happened during the mission, and I expect it before tomorrow. Yes Hokage-sama, nodded Shikamaru. But before that, she said, tell me more about the Akatsuki that Asuma fought, the one with the red mask with black spots. For what you said, you managed to get more information about him than the other one. Shikamaru nodded as he put his hands behind his back. The Akatsuki that Asuma fought was the first one we encountered. He would easily pass at least as an elite Jonin level or maybe even higher, said Shikamaru. Recalling the events that took place a few hours ago, he was also very skilled in taijutsu, possessed great speed, high reflexes and strength. He was also a kenjutsu specialist, as he showed a great deal of skill when using the 2 katana swords he carries on his back. Tsunade just stared at the Chunin for a few seconds before signaling him to continue. Aside from a water clone, he didn't use any other jutsu during the fight, so I don't know what kind he uses, said Shikamaru, before staring at the ground with his eyes narrowed. Also, I'm not sure but, he seems to possess some kind of high-level healing ability. Healing ability? How so? Asked the Sannin, raising an eyebrow in surprise by the news. And how far does his healing goes? I'm not sure about the limits myself. We stabbed a kunai on his head but he just stood there like if it was nothing, said Shikamaru, as he remembered the Akatsuki that almost killed Asuma. Also, from what I was able to see before they escaped, the man's right arm was missing, so my only guess is that it was Asuma who did it. Tsunade nodded. I see, so Asuma was able to wound the man. Shikamaru looked down. I'm not sure about that Hokage-sama, said the Chunin, gaining the female Sanin's attention. While it is true that the man's arm was cut off, just like before, he didn't seem to mind that at all. I'm not sure, but there is something about this man that I really don't like, he said in full seriousness. Tsunade frowned, while she was familiar with the concept of healing jutsu. Especially since the only healing jutsu made for battle she knew was her own creation. So to know that there was something similar out there was intriguing. Especially if Shikamaru was correct about there being something else about it, but also worrying, as it was an enemy shinobi the one who possessed it. But in any case, seeing that this was related to her field of expertise, she couldn't help but feel very intrigued by the subject. So I guess the only thing left to do is to hunt down those two Akatsuki, said the Hokage. Still looking at Shikamaru, we will assemble a team to track and eliminate the two Akatsuki, and since you seems to have collected a lot of information from them in your encounter, I'm gonna put you in charge, Shikamaru. Shikamaru's eyes winded. Me Hokage-sama? The Hokage nodded. I'm counting on you, Shikamaru. Shikamaru wasn't sure about this, especially since if it was not for his mistake in dispelling the jutsu, maybe things could have gone differently, but still, there was no time for that kind of thoughts. Looking back at the Hokage, Shikamaru nodded. Yes, Hokage-sama. The Hokage turned to Shizune, who just finished attending Asuma. How is he, Shizune? The young woman looked at her master with a face of relief and answered, he is okay now. He did lost a lot of blood, but I managed to stop the bleeding and his wounds aren't infected. He will recover in a few weeks. Good, in that case you will be accompanying Shikamaru too, Shizune, declared the Hokage. Both the Chunin and the medic Nin eyes winded. May I ask why Tsunade-sama? Asked Shizune, surprised by her sensei's orders. The Hokage glanced at her student. Cause the Akatsuki Shikamaru and I were talking about may prove to be too much trouble, and physical attacks may be worthless against him, so in the case of that, maybe poisons or sedative serums could be the other best option. While the Hokage said this, Shizune wasn't sure what to make of the situation. She was a very capable shinobi, but she wasn't used in going into missions since she normally stayed and helped Tsunade-sama in paperwork, as she was her assistant, but seeing that she was making a very valid point about how important her assistance could be in the mission, she chose to continue listening to her master with a determined look on her face. Shizune, you have a vast knowledge in poisons, so it may work, but since we don't know how his healing abilities affect his immunologic system, it may be better if you go and prepare as many as you can. Make different types of poisons or sedative serums. Use everything I taught you, said the Sanin, with now Shizune and Shikamaru seeing clearly her point. Also, if it's possible, I want you to acquire his body or at least a sample for further study, since I'm actually curious about this man and how his healing abilities works. We may find something interesting. Shizune couldn't refuse to that. In a way, she was also intrigued by this man too, so without objection, the medic Nin bowed. As you wish, Tsunade-sama. Tsunade smiled a little at seeing her student attitude at the subject. Knowing full well that her student was also interested, but before she could say anything else, the room's door opened, revealing none other than Yuhi Kurenai, who without any word quickly approached the resting Asuma, who was still sleeping on the bed. Everybody knew that the Jonin needed a time alone, so they left the room without saying anything, leaving a crying Kurenai behind. The orange-masked man contemplated the information Zetsu just brought him. Irisin Wataru, his past and origin village still remains unknown, but we were able to find something that was related to his name, said the black half, gaining the attention of the masked man. The white half continue, he was part of some sort of secret project made by a private organization. From what we heard, they were experimenting on many kinds of things. More than anything, they were working in manipulating the genes and the DNA of the human body. Everything with the goal of creating the perfect shinobi. If we had to guess, it's probable that Irisin was somehow involved in that secret project too, said the black one. A subject in said project perhaps, said the masked man, his dark and sinister voice void of emotion. Is that all the information you managed to recover? The white half grinned. Sadly yes, you wouldn't believe how hard it was to find anything related to him, especially if the only thing we know is his name. And are you sure that the snake has nothing to do with this? Asked the man, knowing full well that this was Orochimaru's field of expertise. There could be a possibility, but we don't think that is the case, said the black half. This secret organization seems to be older than Orochimaru, maybe even from the time the first Hokage was still alive. Now the masked man was even more intrigued. Keep searching for information about Deadpool, and this secret organization, too. Anything you find report it to me immediately, he ordered. Are you gonna tell Iris-san about our recent founding? Asked the white one. No, said the masked man, at least not all of it. He is a valuable piece. Give him too much information could risk him leaving Akatsuki, but it's also too risky to not tell him anything either. Zetsu nodded. I see, then we will take our leave, said the black one. Zetsu then disappeared in the ground, leaving the mysterious figure alone in the dark cave. Back in Konoha, in one of the many training grounds that Konoha has to offer, was none other than our favorite blonde-whiskered, #1 unpredictable ninja and one of the main protagonists in this story. Uzumaki Naruto. The young Jinchuriki was currently in the middle of a very special training, chakra manipulation, one of the hardest thing that only a few shinobi managed to achieve. His goal? To perfect the Rasengan and create a technique that by far will surpass it, something that not even the Yondaime Hokage was able to do. Even so, the Nine Tails Jinchuriki was having a hard time, but even with all those difficulties, he will not stop, not until he achieves his goal. Still, he was not alone. His sensei Hitaki Kakashi was also there, helping him and supporting him every time he could. Oh, and not too far away, Captain Yamato was also there too, kind of forgot about him. In any way, the fact was that they were making a lot of progress. Naruto already managed to apply chakra manipulation to the Rasengan by using a third clone, and the technique was already turning into a new form. Everything seemed like it was going fine. But it was then that things turned out differently. A Konoha shinobi suddenly appeared besides Yamato, gaining the attention from Naruto and Kakashi from afar. While the shinobi was talking to Yamato, Naruto couldn't stop himself from asking, "Hey, Kakashi-sensei, what's wrong? Why is that guy here?" Kakashi was also staring at the new arrival. I'm not sure, said the Jonin, but in any case, you stay here and keep practicing. I'm going to see what is all this about. Naruto just nodded and continued his exercises while Kakashi walked towards Yamato and the other shinobi. But just when he arrived, the shinobi quickly left, leaving only him and Yamato. Kakashi-senpai, I have some news about the recent mission with the Akatsuki. Kakashi blinked a few times. I see, then I guess it's better that Naruto hear about this too, said Kakashi, with Yamato nodding in agreement. Hey Naruto, called Kakashi, getting the attention from the blonde shinobi. Come here for a moment, he said, signaling with his hand for him to get closer. Naruto moved towards his sensei. What is it, Kakashi-sensei? He asked, curious about what his sensei had to say. Kakashi pointed at Yamato with his hand. Yamato here say that he has some news from the mission with the Akatsuki. I guess you may want to hear them too, after all. Well, you know. Naruto just nodded, before he and Kakashi turned towards Yamato. Captain Yamato, what is the problem? Well, it seems that the mission to eliminate or capture the Akatsuki members that were spotted entering the country didn't work out very well, he said, getting a worrying look from both the genin and his sensei. But don't worry, nobody died during the mission. Everyone is okay. Or well, everyone except for one person, said Yamato, staring at the ground. Kakashi now looked more concerned, even Naruto, knowing that some of his friends were there too. Who? Yamato raised his eyes back at the two. Asuma-san is in the hospital, he said, getting a shocked look from Kakashi and Naruto. What? Said Naruto, his concern reaching higher levels. Yamato raised his hands. Don't worry, from what I hear, he is okay and fine now, said the Mokuton user, managing to calm Naruto a little, but he lost his left arm. It was cut off during the fight and lost a lot of blood on his way here. He is alright now, but he is going to stay in the hospital for a few weeks, he said, looking at them with sad eyes. Naruto's eyes were wide open, not believing what he just heard. Asuma was one of the strongest shinobi he knew, and he was happy that the man was still alive, but still, to lost his arm. He couldn't help but wonder just how strong the other Akatsuki guys that fought were really like. Another reason for him to grow stronger. I see, then I guess I better see how he is doing, said Kakashi, before turning to Naruto. Naruto, you stay here and continue your training, ordered the Jonin. But Kakashi-sensei, I know you were worried, but you hear what Yamato said. Asuma is okay now. I'm just going to see how he is doing and come back when I'm done. On the other hand, you are getting closer to completing the jutsu. I know it, said Kakashi, trying to convince his student. You continue working in the new jutsu. I know you can do it. Naruto could only stare as Kakashi waved at him with an eye smile and left in a Shunshin no jutsu. Naruto stared at the spot where his sensei was standing a few moments ago, but with a confident look on his eyes, he turned to face Mokutan user, Captain Yamato. Let's continue with the training. Kakashi sensei is trusting me with this. So I'm not going to fail. Datbeo, he yelled, raising his arm to the air. Yamato only nodded, as they proceed to continue his training. It was already late at night and Shikamaru was walking in one of the hospital hallways on his way to see Asuma one last time before leaving. When he finally reached his sensei room and opened the room, he was surprised to see Shizune. Said person just noticed his arrival. Oh. Hey Shikamaru, I already finished checking Asuma's condition one last time. I was already leaving, said Shizune, her hands carrying some medical tools in a plate. It's okay, I was just on my way out, but I wanted to see Asuma one last time before leaving, responded the Chunin, a little surprised at seeing the woman at such hour. Well actually, I was also looking for you, said the woman. Shikamaru raised an eyebrow. Yeah? What for? Shizune put the plate on a table. I grabbed a stack of papers, since I'm gonna be part of the team in charge of eliminating the Akatsuki in your next mission, and because of what Tsunade-sama asked me for, I wanted to confirm some things you said in your report about the red-masked man, she said, getting a nod from the young Nara before looking at the papers in her hands. In your report you said that the man, or as he calls himself, Deadpool, aside from his childish behavior and strange ways of talking, he showed signs of not being in his right mind, or stupid in some way. But you also said things that seems to be the total opposite. Can you explain that? Also, there are some other things that I want to ask too, but that can wait for later. Shikamaru only sighed, too troublesome, I should have left when I had the chance. Before anything, said Shikamaru, is everything okay with Asuma-sensei? Shizune nodded, he is fine, he just needs some rest. Shikamaru sighed in relief, that is good to hear. But he did said something in his sleep. Shikamaru looked at Shizune with some interest, really? What did he said? Shizune thought for a moment, I'm not sure, I didn't really understood him, but I did catch something he said. I don't know why but I think he said. Byakugan. Extra. Back in the Akatsuki hideout. It's been a few hours since the ritual started and everything seemed awfully quiet, with the only exception being Deadpool, who thankfully, was talking to himself about something called taco or some nonsense like that. He didn't care. Looking at Deadpool's image, Deidara just noticed something. Hey, Baka Pool, what happened to your arm? Why is it so small? Deadpool stooped his inner conversation and glanced at Deidara's hologram. What, this? Oh yeah, I lost my arm a few hours ago, complete chopped up, but it's growing again, see? So no problem, he reassured with a goofy smile on his face. Deidara just sighed, yeah, I know the feeling.
That's all for now. If you enjoy this video, then please like, share and do comments.